Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a mama with a child that was diagnosed with a terminal illness? Well, stay tuned to our special guest. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be financially stable, to lead a full, empowered life. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. You can also visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. Our special guest today is Pam Strickland. She is a 1978 graduate from Barton College with a BS in nursing. She began her nursing career at a local hospital as a surgical staff nurse on fourth floor from 1978 to 1982, a surgical nurse clinician from 1982 to 1992, and the fourth floor nurse manager from 1992 to 2004. She then worked at the day hospital from 2005 to 2007 as a assistant manager, and from 2007 to 2012 and a nurse manager in the OR in the operative area. That's not my wheelhouse right there, as you can tell. She retired full-time in 2012, but continued to work PRN as a staff nurse at the day hospital from 2012 to 2018. She received her CNOR certification in 2009. She's an active member of Inglewood Baptist Church. So thank you for joining us this morning. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. So we know how long you've been a nurse. So tell us the primary reasoning for you becoming a nurse.
You know, many years ago, I remember talking to my mom and asking her, trying to figure out where direction I needed to be. And she actually was the one that mentioned nursing. And I said, well, that sounds great. I just always had the desire to help people, and I liked the medicine side of it. So I just really followed her one word or one little conversation, and I kept on, never looked back. Even when other people were getting discouraged when we were in nursing school, I just knew that was what I wanted to do. That heart's desire was in me to do that.
Sweet. I tell the story all the time about my mom. I wanted to be an engineer. She was like, nope, we don't have enough money to send you to engineering school. You're going to have to go to the community college. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? She said, be a nurse. I said, okay, that's how I became a nurse.
So very similar, because I had mentioned social worker, and she said, no, you don't need to be a social worker. She didn't want me to be a social worker.
That's too funny. So how many children and how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3 sons and I have 3 grandsons. So all boys.
I love it. So now, early in one of your son's life, so tell me where he lies in the mix of the 3. He was originally diagnosed with a glioblastoma. Now, as a nurse, that has to be a scary time for you and your family. So tell me about some of the things that ran through your mind at that time.
Okay. Well, he is my oldest son, and so he was my firstborn. At the time, I only had 2 sons at the time, and I had a 3-year-old, and Jason was 7. It was just a very frightening time. It's like, we had seen some things coming about and changes in him, but didn't really understand them. And then when it came about, it was just like, oh, this answers all the checks. I understand what's going on here. I just think I turned to the Lord during that time. It was just both my husband and me. And, some people fall from the church or fall away from the Lord during that time. But I felt like during that time, I only grew closer. And, and I just felt like he was guiding me, and I asked for his guidance daily.
Yeah, I think that, we have to understand that it is in the valley situations in which we grow our relationship with God. If we can just get through those valley situations, because, I don't care who you are, you're going to have those highs and you're going to have those lows. And on those mountaintops is where they're great and everybody loves a mountaintop, but that's not where you grow. That's
Right.
not where you grow at all. You grow in those valleys, and it's that journey on back up to that mountaintop that makes all the difference in the world. So yes, I do, man. That is so true. So now, what are some of the first things that you did right after he was diagnosed?
Well, it's interesting. People are always trying to give you guidance on what they think you ought to do, but it had to be a decision that my husband and I made. But I was always close to Dr. Lucas Martinez, our neurosurgeon here, and he was the one that guided me. Or actually, he did the first surgery, and I just, I felt like the Lord knew inside of me that it was important that I have a relationship with the person that did the surgery, and it was real important. And he just did exactly what he needed to do in order to not cause Jason major deficits. And so he did the first surgery, got in there enough to do a biopsy. It was cystic in nature, so the cyst, had he was able to get rid of the cyst, but that was it. And then, it was still with that grim diagnosis that our hospital with the first pathology said that's what they thought the tumor was. And he just gave me the promise that that he would not allow Jason to have anything experimental, but that he would get the best treatment possible. And I just followed his guidance with that. We did go to Duke Hospital as a consult, and that ended up, the doors were closed with that. And that's what we asked the Lord. If the doors are going to close, the doors are going to close. They basically told me not to do anything. But when I went, Dr. Martinez also led me to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And there was a physician there that was doing stereotactic laser surgery. And when they were going to see Jason as a consult, I mean, they wanted the pathology slides, they wanted all the MRIs. It was very, very detailed. And that's when our doors started opening for us when we went there, because we were given that he had a year to live. That was all. But I felt
Wow.
like God placed us there for such a time as this, as it says in the Bible, for said. And I felt like, I was there for a purpose, and, God would be using me and my husband through all of this. And I felt very strong with all of that, even though it was very, very difficult.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Now, when we talked, you said that you were at peace with the diagnosis. Where did that peace come from?
It just came from the Lord. I just had, I had people praying for me. I knew all over that people I didn't even know, and was before all the computer access that we have nowadays. But I had heard of people praying. I felt their prayers. People always say, pray for me. They take it lightly, or they say they'll pray for me, but that means so much, through prayer. God's word was so important during that time. I, listened to every word and that he gave me, through the Bible and through our pastor during that time. And I just think that guidance was just what helped us through. And I think I could see the answered prayers every day. I would always be so surprised. And I also learned during that time, take one day at a time, which we should do anyway. But as nurses and mothers, we try to look way down the road. And it was just a good lesson for me to say, this is our day, our daily bread. This is just today. Just take today. That's the only day that we have, right today, and how we use that day.
That's right. That's right. Because we're never promised tomorrow. And so we have to live today like no other.
Right, right, right.
That's for sure. So now you were the nurse manager over a couple of units in your nursing career.
Right.
There are some that find it difficult to separate family and work. And when I first started talking to you, you were talking to me and you said that you wanted to talk about family, which is one of our pillars for success. So how were you able to decide where to draw the line? Because sometimes it can be hard, right?
I do. I always worked on that constantly. And I think that in this world, people will pull you in directions that you may feel some guilt or something that, well, I need to be a part of this, I need to be part of that. But I feel like that when you put family first and you don't get so caught up in people trying to push you in other directions, I just learned to say no to a lot of things, because I guess I would put all my energy in my position once I was at work, but then when I left, I tried to leave work right where it was as much as possible. And the staff were really great. I worked on fourth floor, which was 24-hour accountability, but they were really great staff during the time I worked there. There's still some great folks up there that are still employed there that haven't retired. But they were just real supportive of me throughout my years on fourth floor. And then at the day hospital, which was a little bit better because it wasn't a 24-hour accountability. It was if there was an emergency, but being at the day hospital was a lot better as far as that, like who called in on night shift. I didn't have to worry about that. But I also got to learn something totally different being in the operating room. It was like a new starting nursing all over again. But I loved it. I couldn't believe how much I loved it because I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about being in the operating room. And there was an older nurse there. She said, gosh, I wish I had that excitement. But I was so excited. It was just wonderful. I just couldn't believe how much I was learning all the time.
Yeah, it does make a difference because in the operating room, y'all are silos. Like
Right.
sometimes we don't know who you guys are.
I know. I know. That's right. I've learned all these people that when I was on fourth floor, we mostly took care of surgical patients. I didn't know that many people in the operating room. And I'd only hear some of the surgeons talk about surgical techs and how much they meant to them. And then I realized when I worked in the operating room, I'm thinking, oh, these people are absolutely wonderful. I just didn't know them. Like you said, they're covered up and you don't see them and get to talk to them. You're correct.
That's for sure. So what are some of the things that you would tell a young parent that is in the nursing field?
I would say do not get yourself feeling like you have to do so many things for your child. Spend the time with them. And that's going to matter most to them. Don't sign them up for 10 different things. Make sure you just value your time and just be with them as much as they can. They are so little for just a short time, and your influence is only going to be there but for so long. And just enjoy every moment of it, as you can, as much as you can.
Yeah, it's this year we've decided just because we're dumping debt, we've decided that we're not going to give it any Christmas gifts, and we're just going to spend time. We're going to have a good time because I remember times when my children, like it was one Christmas, and I tell this story where she dropped this gift down the steps, and I thought, oh my God, I just bought that gift, and luckily we were able to go back and replace it and get another one, but my whole day was messed up because first of all, I probably couldn't afford that gift. And secondly, I just, I was upset with her because of the fact that she dropped the gift and I shouldn't have been. What I should have done was I should have just been, okay, not to give the gift. But we get so caught up in that, right? We get so
Right.
caught up in what other people think that we should do.
Right.
And that time is invaluable. You're absolutely right. So what
I
is some
remember silly things I used to think that my kids, I needed to have a live Christmas tree, needed to have a real Christmas tree every year. And then after a bit, and it was a lot of mess and stuff like that, I realized it didn't matter to them whether they had a light Christmas tree. An artificial one was fine for them. And that was something that I had imposed upon myself. And those are the type of things, like you said, you have to be real careful of. And you're talking about the material world out there is big. And you just have to be careful that no, they don't need this. And no, they don't have to have a four-wheeler. No, they don't have to have whatever it may be at the time that they think they need, because something's going to move on and they're going to want something else. Whatever.
And I think that one of the things too is that what we do is we're teaching them how to treat material things too, right?
Right.
Because if we treat them like they are all time valuable, then they treat them very much in the same way. And that's one of the things that I value with my relationship with my husband. I value the time that I spend with him. I value our relationship, because what it does is it teaches my children how their relationships should go, right? And
Correct.
so, and we just, and I, as a young parent, didn't get that. Like, I didn't get that. You better look what you're doing. You can tell them what you want to tell them, but they're gonna do what you do.
Right. Yes.
So now, what are some of the things that you do now to ensure that you have family closeness?
I think I talk to my children and spend time with them. I'm fortunate. I have one of my sons just lives across the street, and the other one just lives about a mile down the road. So that is a blessing. And the other son and his wife live in Durham, and that's still not far. And so, with a lot of talking, spending time, planning events, whatever it may be, birthday celebrations, whatever, it doesn't matter, just time together. I think that's really important. And just to talk, spend time.
Sweet.
It is
Now,
nice being retired, and it's not as complicated as it used to be.
that's right.
Yeah.
You don't have to plan around the holiday. I used to always, when I worked Christmas, I used to work the morning shift. So, you always work that part of that 12-hour shift. So I would work the morning shift. I would work from 7 until 1. And so I would get up at 4 and I wake everybody up, come downstairs, get your gifts, and then I'm going to work. I'll be right back.
Right.
And so then I come back, and then we go over the big family, traditional holiday. Thankfully, I don't have to do that no more.
I know. When those days were gone, I just realized the people that worked at the day hospital, those that have come from the floor and gone to the day hospital, they always would say, this is precious to be off on a holiday. I mean, this is just absolutely wonderful. And, we never took it for granted at the day hospital. Those that worked in the floor setting for many years, because I was on that for 26 years, and before I went to the day hospital, it was just a gift to be able to be off on holidays and to be with family like everyone else.
That's right. So now you have 3 adult children. How do you decide how to do Christmas and other major holidays? Like, how do y'all decide that?
Well, I've been blessed with that too. We just talk about it. It's changing even more now than before because of grandchildren. And I've always told them, it doesn't have to be at my house. I can go to your house and have Christmas there. It's great with me. It's just been really, I just kind of follow, Laura. I listen to Laura. My daughter-in-law lives across the street. Just kind of listen to what she has to do. My son that just had a child that lives in Durham, him and his wife, I know things are going to change. They said, we may not want to go anywhere for Christmas. They used to all come to my house. I said, that's fine. I'll make a trip to Durham. So we just kind of talk among each other and kind of discuss it. And my daughter-in-law, Delight, both her parents have passed on. So, she usually is part of the equation. Her and her husband, my son, Jason, they're part of the equation. So it's been a little bit easier with them, but the other ones have other parents and stuff like that we try to, just spend time with. And I'm flexible. I'll do whatever.
Walk around.
I think that's what you have to be, just not selfish. It's not all about me. And it's what everybody else would like to do and try to work around it. We've been fortunate. We've been able to do that.
That's good. That's good. Now, who is somebody that has been influential in the way in which you have raised your family? And what did that influence look like?
Well, you I thought about that. I would say my parents. I had some dynamic parents. They were really, really good people. And examples in their Christian walk and how they treated other people. And I think I followed them. To think about others, not yourself. Um, Never, if someone tried to act angry towards you, they never got into it. They just were just easy people to be around, sort of the salt of
Mm,
the earth kind of people. And I just tried to follow them, how they raised us. We just all loved our parents. I'm one of four girls. We all loved us and they were able to love us without any rivalry between us. And I was always amazed with that too, how they just treated us all with a lot of love, each one of us. And I was just really blessed. And my husband the same. We've talked about our raisings have both been excellent, and I think that set the foundation. I know we do things differently because it's just a different time. In fact, I think that as far as hands-on affection, I was probably more affectionate. My husband and I were than maybe our parents were to us, because they loved us, but they just weren't as hands-on, hugging and kissing and saying "I love you" as much as we did with our kids. But they were just wonderful examples.
that goes back to, knowing that it's not always what you say, it is what you do.
Right.
It is what you do. And, and they may not have you felt the love, even though they may have been that hands-on, right? You felt
Right.
the love and you knew that they loved you.
Right.
So what are 5 pieces of advice that you would give a family that is raising children today that are tried and true no matter the time period?
Make sure that they know the Lord. That would be number one. Make sure they know God's word, and you start a foundation early. Early. Um, Let them know it's not always about them. Let them think about they're very self-centered very early. That's the way we're born, and that they need to think of others. Give them opportunities to see and help out those that have less. That would be some other things. Um, Let them be part of the family as far as chores and things to do around the house. Don't do everything for them. Um, and you know, I just think those kind of values are just so important. Just as teenagers, as they grow up and continue to see and guide them through all those difficult years, be attuned. Just because they're independent doesn't make them doing the right decisions. Kind of know what's going on in their lives. Don't stay out of it. Keep attuned. And now you have the internet and everybody's on their iPhone, and so things are a lot different than even when I raised my children, because we didn't have all of that. But make sure there's good family time, eating together, sharing time together. I think family is just something that the devil would like to separate,
That's
and
right.
got to be really conscious of that, and just say no, you're not going to be a part of that, and that Jesus is going to be a part of my life, and just set a strong foundation for that.
That's That's so true. I have a whiteboard, and my son asked me for a whiteboard, and so we were talking on the phone one day, and he has his whiteboard up, and it has all of his number one, his affirmations, it has all of his goals, and it has quotes. And that was one of the ways that I was able to understand what was going on with him, or one of the ways. There's many of them, but because whatever your affirmations is, whatever your quotes is, that's what you're listening to, right?
Right.
And and the fact that I have a whiteboard up and I have to keep myself structured in the way in which I do things in order to continue on, he's captured that from me without me really saying anything. Him just looking at me and seeing me do the things that I do all the time. So
Right.
it has been a wonderful, wonderful time. So thank you, Miss Pam, for for joining us. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to come to equip healthcare professionals to be financially stable, wealthy, to lead a full, empowered life. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. You can follow us on Twitter at The Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing, and if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. You can also visit us at our website at vpnursing.com.